negotiating with teachers openly, honestly, and in writing. And we start this with Jessica.
Certainly, teacher negotiations are a huge part of what goes into how everything works in the district. There's always thought that goes into who will sit at the negotiating table, and it's carefully weighed. As a board, there's a fine line between being involved as an individual and listening and functioning as a group. I'm not sure about the part about in writing. I think, I always feel that honesty is important, but with negotiations, we have to be very careful because we can't speak out of turn. So a lot of it happens at the negotiating table, and we aren't all there collectively. We have to wait for the results of negotiation and then form our decisions as we go forward.
These are where the board members are going to have an advantage over Doug and I, since we've never sat in on teacher negotiations. However, negotiations are negotiations. I think you have to be honest with the people you're dealing with, because if you're not, then nothing's going to get accomplished. Everything you say, if you're going to lie to them, they're going to bring back and haunt you with it later on. You know, I go with negotiations with my children. And they are negotiations, believe me. When, Dad, if I get an A, do I get to go to the dance? Or, you know, if I get a B, can I stay at Johnny's house? Whatever it is. They have to be honest with you, you have to be honest with them. I mean, like I said, I've never negotiated with teachers, but honesty is the best policy.
Negotiations are governed by some of these very complex laws and regulations that I was talking about earlier. We can't just go off on our own and do negotiations in whatever method we choose. We have to live within the Taylor law and within all of the other regulations associated with collective bargaining. Now, having said that, I'd love to have open public negotiations. I'd love to do it right here at this table, and anybody sit and watch. That would, if I had my druthers, I think that would be great. And I'd be prepared to do that. But from a practical point of view, to get the unions in the state of New York to agree to such kinds of negotiations are pretty slim. So the best bet is the policy that Bill was talking about, which is be honest, be open, give the people who are negotiating for you the guidelines they need, and trust them that they'll work collaboratively with teachers who also have a vested interest in the success of our district. And we have common goals and common needs. Focus on those commonalities and resolve the problems amicably, but within the law and within the structures that we are required to live by.
The way negotiations need to happen, in fairness and within constraints of law, is the teachers' union needs to get together, decide what's important to them, what they want, what they're willing to give up, behind closed doors. Nobody else has the business knowing what that is. The board needs to do the same. And then they select each negotiators who sit together, and that's where everything needs to be open and honest and clear with each other of what the teachers' union is looking for, what the administration is looking for. However, until a deal is done, probably should keep everything on the table and not be putting it in the media. However, I think one thing we could be doing better is making it clear what concessions are being, when a decision is made in the negotiating table, what that result of that is. It is a little hard for the average parent to find out. We frequently hear about, oh, teachers made this concession, but you don't hear about everything. You have to look a little harder. And so I think a little more transparency on what concessions have been made and given would probably be better.
Well, I think it's important, having been through at least a few of these so far, I think what's important is that as board members that we negotiate and we work to the best interest of the district. And a significant part of the district's success is in fact the teachers. And so it is in fact, we should be negotiating to the best interest of the district, which includes the teachers. And I think when we keep that in mind, and we go to the negotiating table and we balance those things, we support the administration in what they believe to be the, you know, the direction to take or the approach to take, I think we're successful. When it comes to what the teachers or anyone understands about the process or about the financial sort of limitations of the district, I think our process of communicating to the public, which would include the teachers, has to continue to be reinforced and stressed so that people have an appreciation for the challenge that we are under every time we go to the negotiating table in balancing all of this.